Hey everybody, we're Pen and Pole DFS. I'm Ricky.
I'm Keaton.
And we're going to be talking today about some PGA, some match play this week.
Yeah, it's an interesting format this week. Probably one of our most helpful videos given the unique nature here at the Austin Country Club tournament.
Absolutely. We are in Austin, Texas, so away from Florida. But as we start, you'll see that we are in different locations this week. If you hadn't
for the first time, Ricky is not next to me.
Exactly, and I have a glowy headset. So if that distracts you, too bad, because it's just the only headset I have. Nonetheless, like I said, I'm off location, out of Charlotte for the week, and but just start with some housekeeping. The weekly show beer, as I am off location and I'm still trying to do work, I'm drinking water.
I have our weekly show beer. It is an Aviator Horsepower Double IPA from Farquay Varina, Aviator Brewing Company.
I'm only going to make 3 comments on this. A, Aviator off is awesome. 2, do you not think that should have been for the NASCAR show? And 3, answer 2.
I will answer 1 and 2 since I don't know what 3 was really asking.
I was just saying to answer 2 because it feels like...
I did not know why. Is there a connection to... Oh, because horsepower. I'm dumb. You know what? We'll do it for also DFS, or also NASCAR DFS this week. I have extra in the fridge.
Perfect.
You're going to need to go to the store, though, Harris Teeter, and find one of these.
I will be drinking the finest Natty Latte.
Perfect.
And so, nonetheless, I don't know if those of you that follow us on Twitter may have seen, but we are doing a free bracket challenge with real prizes.
Ricky was shocked.
I was mostly shocked because I can win them. I was told that I can I think I can just keep people from winning them. So I'm just. Oh
no, Ricky's going to be in the million. Well, you'll see what our prize is, but I think Ricky can take it home.
Yeah. So stay to the end, or fast forward to the end. I mean, stay to the end, and you'll figure out what it is. But as always, we want to thank our viewers, those that have stuck around and those that are new. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about last week's recap. Nothing really happened with me. I was big on Brandon Wu. And that failed. And so I got 1 out of 26, 6 out of 6 lineups, and it did basically nothing. I think, I won a little bit. I lost overall, but, I didn't lose a ton. I was close to you.
I had a decent week. I think I was overall slight loss, but in DFS, that's probably a win. I had 28% Matt Jones, and I actually cut Matt Jones' exposure towards the end of my roster building process. I was about 35%. Throughout the week. So kind of a bummer to cut it, but yeah, 28%. I still ended up with some good rosters. I actually had a 5 of 6 that tied my best 6 of 6, that 56th place in the big $5. So close, not quite a shot on goal.
I think I had 1 or 2 5 out of 6s that were better than my 6 out of 6.
Yeah, it was an interesting week.
Yeah, it was.
So
was it interesting?
It was a fun tournament. I mean, I'm more excited for this one. I'm really excited for this one. I think this gives a great opportunity in DFS and just as a viewership. It'll be a fun tournament to watch. So let's get into this week. So this is a unique tournament. We have a match play format. It's March Madness, so brackets are all the rage.
It's unique in the sense that it's exactly the same thing that basketball is.
Yeah. I mean, it's unique for golf. It's unique in that we only play this once a year on the PGA Tour. There is the Ryder Cup type events or other events throughout the year that do this format, or the NCAA does a championship of it also. But for the PGA, this is a unique event. 64 golfers, 16 groups of 4. The first foursome play round robin Wednesday to Friday, and the winner of that stage advances to the 16-player single elimination.
Which we probably can't call the Sweet 16 because I assume that the NCAA has that.
Oh, trademarked. Absolutely trademarked.
But I'm going to be calling it the Sweet 16.
I call it the Sweet 16 in here too, so sorry. And if you see in the show notes, I actually published a free spreadsheet that as you complete your bracket, it'll calculate a rough projection, the top 4 salaries, and tell you how much salary you have left to spend. Because the ultimate goal, as we'll get to here in a little bit, is getting 4 of 4 in that final 4 if you're trying to take down a big player GPP. So, but as we're getting through the play here, the other two unique aspects is golfers will play 2 rounds on Saturday and 2 rounds on Sunday. 2 rounds on Saturday if they win. Sunday they'll definitely play 2 rounds because there's a consolation runner-up round. But I just wonder if that maybe favors some of the younger golfers and maybe less of the journeymen that I have hated on in the past on our videos. Just wonder if like stamina comes into play on that second Saturday round.
I mean, Lee Westwood's been playing golf every day for the past 3 months, I think. So.
And that look how well it went out for him last week.
It did not go well for him. So, I think that'll definitely be interesting. And as we see, because there's the rounds, the most important thing is getting golfers that are going to advance. Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit later about our strategy for that. We spent a lot of time yesterday trying to, come up with the optimal strategy, and then not only optimal strategy, but how to create those lineups that fits that optimal strategy. Yeah. And so we'll talk through that a little bit and go from there. But I think we're going to talk about scoring next, right? Yeah,
absolutely. We've got the scoring overview here, and it's different this week. So it's not our typical birdie bogey scoring that DraftKings normally has. We have a holes won, holes halved, holes lost scoring. So you'll get 3 points for holes won, 0.75 for holes halved, and you'll lose 0.75 when you lose a hole. And we have this interesting aspect of holes not played. So those not familiar with the match play format, Ricky, can you give us a quick rundown of how match play works and how we can end up with holes not played?
Yeah, absolutely. Every hole is worth 1.
Yeah, okay.
If you win, you get 1. If you don't win, you don't get 1. If you tie, no one gets 1. As you go, you are either up or down or even. And if you get to a point where you are up more or down more, then there are holes to play. So say you are down 3 holes after 16, so 2 holes to play. You lose 3 and 2, and they do not play the last 2 holes.
So the golfer concedes effectively those last 2 holes because no matter what, they can't win.
I don't know if the golfer concedes so much as the PGA makes them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then the winning golfer then, and I looked into this because at first I'm like, wait, are you telling me the?
I was gonna ask, does the loser also get those points?
No, so I did read down it. If you read down right below this, it clarifies that it's only the winning golfer that scores these non-holes played points.
I mean,
no stacking guys just getting swept early.
Somebody going 10 and 8, somebody losing out 10 and 8 would be like.
I think Tiger did that to somebody famously, right? What
sure.
was the fastest you can win? I think Tiger did it to somebody in his prime. He won this tournament like 4 times.
Because you would be dormy, which means you are up the number of holes you have left, and you can't lose. You can only tie. You'd be dormy if you won off the first time.
So you win the first 9, and then either tie or win hole 10, and then it's just a good game.
Yeah, you either win 10 and 9.
And then your opponent cries, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard it mentioned on 2 different shows. Something about Daniel Berger, I believe it is, making Ricky Fowler cry during a match play tournament, and I need to Google more. Yeah, I need to Google more.
I don't know.
So look at our Twitter. If I find something, I'll tweet it.
Every time I think of anything match play related, I think of the picture of Ricky Fowler with, I think it was the President's Cup, when it was all the lives pictures and he was just by himself sitting there. That's what I think of. But now he also has a live. So.
That's fantastic. But then, going back here, you also will score points for winning the match overall, and then you do score 2 points if you have a match in that group stage. You can have a match. Once you advance to the single elimination, there'll be no halving. You'll go on to playoffs. And actually, once you pass the group stage, playoff holes count towards scoring, which is unique for DraftKings. Typically, you don't score points in the playoff holes, but you will in this format after the group stage. So matches halved won't exist after the group stage, but you can have a match. They'll stop at 18 in the group stage. So, and then if you can win 3 straight holes, kind of like they do for the 3 straight birdie bonus, you get a 5-point bonus. And if you can go the whole match without losing a hole, just embarrass your opponent, you get that sweet 0.75. So if you play with my spreadsheet that I posted a link to down below, 7.5. I'm sorry. But if you play with my spreadsheet that's down in the link below, it doesn't take into account for these streak of 3 or no holes lost type bonuses. I think those kind of things are really hard to account for.
I mean, basically impossible to account for. I think it would be interesting if you did like a little bit of a deeper dive into the more erratic golfers, because if they're able to win or even be competitive, they're probably going to win a lot more holes than they're going to have, and so you're going to probably get more points in the net from an individual round. But that being said, an erratic golfer is dangerous to count on to win.
It's match play. Anything can happen in one round of golf, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. So yeah, as we move on to our roster construction strategy.
Screenshot this. This is the most important slide in our spreadsheet.
We'll make a really good face to screenshot it.
You cannot win a GPP breaking at least the first two rules. You can get lucky and break the third rule. Third's more of a giving yourself the best shot type of a thing, but you cannot win a big GPP violating the first two rules. I think that is a fact.
And it would be dumb.
And it would be just negative EV. So
if you want to be dumb, I would advise you not to be playing DFS. I play DFS, and it's going.
So you can join the 35% of lineups that submitted last year, or I guess 2 years ago, so we didn't have this event last year. But 2 years ago, the 35% of people that did not submit a lineup that was optimal, meaning they violated these rules, meaning they either rostered more than one player per group, which means you automatically have a 5 of 6 coming out of the group stage.
That is the dumbest thing you could do.
Absolutely the worst. If you're building rosters on your phone, you need to have a bracket next to you.
You need to. I think that's the biggest thing. You need to have the bracket. You need to be able to look at it and say, hey, Dustin Johnson is in the same bracket as McIntyre.
Or Kevin Na. Those can't be together ever.
Yeah, exactly. And then not only that, but as you go to at least one player, I think we also talked about the sub-quadrants, or the quadrants inside each group, and then we call it a sub-quadrant. Right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's how we're going to refer to it in here. Yep.
But we talk about how, the two groups that are going to be going to the same Sweet 16 game, Group 1 and Group 16, don't pick two people from there because they're going to lose, they're going to end up losing.
Yeah.
And so, if you really like DJ, don't pick Sanjay M. That's
some good bracket recall, Rick. You can tell we worked hard on studying it last night.
Yeah. So, and I mean, these are things that, again, if you have the bracket open in front of you when you're doing this, it makes it a lot easier. And I'm going to talk about how I personally am going to be building my rosters. I've not built mine yet. I've done, like I said, we've done a lot of research on how and whatnot and what the brackets are, but I haven't done that. But I'm going to start by picking who I think is going to be in the Final Four. I'm going to build around that. Maybe I'll probably build some rosters where I'd say, hey, I want these two guys making to the Final Four from two different quadrants.
Yep.
So I think yesterday we were talking about Hovland and Scheffler making to the final.
Yep.
And they're Hovland's down in the bottom left, what we're calling quad 2. Scheffler's down in quad 4. And so if you start there, then that makes it a lot easier to build around the rest of your roster. Yep. And you already have a bunch of people that you literally should not pick at all.
Yep.
If you think that those people are going to be making to the Final Four, and then going from there. But continue, Keaton. No,
because that's exactly right. Because last year, no lineups were 4 of 4 in the Final Four. So if you can get your 4 of 4 in the Final Four, you're going to ship a GPP. I think that's
I think you're definitely going to make a lot of good money. And not only that, but you give yourself a really good chance, to actually be numero uno.
Yeah, which is what it's all about here. So I think following these basic rules gives you a chance to be live in a tournament. I think violating some of these rules, and especially the first two rules, just really sets you up for a losing week. So no matter who you favor to come out of the bracket challenge, just follow these basic construction rules so that you have that plus EV lineup that can give you a chance to finish at the top of a GPP.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we are going to be talking about the actual
club.
And see, it's in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
If anyone follows my our NASCAR stuff, I always comment on the fact that it's like, Phoenix Raceway, and it's in like Avondale or
exactly.
I might be wrong. And so I always comment on how it's always like 15 to 20 miles away from the actual city. This one actually in Austin because golfers are marginally less quiet than race cars.
Yeah, much quieter. So it's a par 71, 7,100 yards, 3 par 5s, 4 par 3s. I guess I've seen its pictures. It looks beautiful, picturesque. Got some mountains in the background. Looks like a great location to play. The weather looks like it's going to be nice. So for our prior winners here, we see Kevin Kistner has kind of run this tournament of late, at least in the last 2 years, finishing first and runner-up with, wasn't played in 2020, but his form has been awful recently, but I'm going to have my share of Kistner. Like, this is his event to lose, right?
How do you think his, like, ownership is going to shake out? Do you think people are going to be more scared away from that bad form, or are they going to just hop on just the fact that he's good at match play?
So,
like being last year's winner is probably going to just like build in ownership.
I think in years past, I think DFS players would have selected him at a much higher rate. I think players are getting better, and I think recent form is the single biggest factor in predicting future form. Guys that are playing well continue to play well. There's nothing predictable in predicting sports, but I mean, generally that is how it's going.
They do until they don't.
Yeah, exactly. And so recent form is a much better predictor for DFS performance. And so I think in years past, people would have reflectively clicked Kistner because of his prior history at this course, but he hasn't played well in 2021. And the ownership projections I've seen for him are about 14%. So he's not falling in the heaviest owners.
I do wonder, though, where in something like match play, where it is a skill in and of itself, whether or not there is, like, what you weigh that current, like, form a little bit less versus past performance.
There is a strategy to the actual match play format that exactly, doesn't exist. Like, Kutcher is famous for, he will not concede a hole. He will make you putt your 1-footer. And so, it's
he's
probably...
he's not the friend you want to play golf with.
Well, I guess he's just a little more cutthroat.
Actually, I would definitely... Matt Kuchar, if you want to go play golf, I would be glad to play golf, and I will miss any 1-foot putt that you would like me to hit.
You can make me putt anything, I think that's... Yeah, there's definitely strategy to it. Different people are definitely different. There was a time when, there's just a lot of people that, have been just historically good at these types of things. Yeah.
Some people that pop out here to me is like Bubba, who hasn't necessarily been all that great, but was able to win in 2018. And he's kind of one of those people that maybe he ends up being a real big points guy. He's a guy that probably also could not get out of his group, but he's a guy that could win 10 holes and lose 5 and then like that math doesn't add up. But like win a lot of holes but also lose a lot. And I think when you do that, you're able to get points because there's such a big difference between the amount of points you get for winning a hole versus losing.
Yeah, it's not that big punishment. The other thing I think that you said that was interesting there, and I just want to highlight it real quick, is that the recent form may not be as important in this format because of match play. And what I think is interesting about that, to win a stroke play event that we see every week, these guys have to be on their top form because you have to be the best of 144 golfers every shot.
Every shot.
Yeah. Here, you don't have to be the best every shot. You can hide that, time you put it in the water 3 times, like concede and move on. Let's go.
Yeah. Every golfer.
And it just hurts you one.
Yeah, I always argued that I would have been a much better match play golfer than a stroke play golfer because for whatever reason, no matter how much I played golf, I could never get rid of those like 3 random holes around where I just like went off the, water, shank, water, like triple. Normally they come like midway through the pack time.
It just blows up your round. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just blows up your round. And like, I mean, like you look at, we talked about it a lot at like the players where like, these players were hitting the ball in the water on 17, and Kevin Na's a perfect example. Literally got a 9, and I think he was only like even or one over, and he got a 9, and he was just like done.
Yep.
And so it's definitely something. I mean, having bad holes can definitely affect your psyche for future holes, but it's not the same as like one bad hole can ruin your round. Or for Victor Hovland's case, one random penalty that they assess after the round is over on Thursday can end up costing you missing the cut or not.
Speaking of Victor Hovland, I love him in this tournament because of the match play element. I think I've never seen him not smiling after he has a crap hole. So he's a guy that adjusts so well to having a crap hole that I can see him. He concedes a hole because he put it in the water twice, and he comes back and birdies the next hole because, like, I think mentally he is really great at just bouncing back. Like, he seems like he's having a great time out there all the time.
Apparently, he really likes it.
And really likes match play. Yeah.
There's
so
like
the course,
unquotes of him saying that he likes it. Any strong opinions on this?
No, it's a Pete Dye course. It's another nice Pete Dye course. So. Not a ton difference. I mean, they like to challenge. The nice thing about this course is I think it favors a little bit of everything. Bombers do have maybe a little bit of an advantage, just I think inherently in a match play format because you'll always be going second, which I think has an advantage. If you're hitting your approach shot second, you can see how your opponent hits his approach, and
unless you're in the woods.
yeah, but generally, I think hitting your approach shot second, if you're hitting longer than your opponent, like whoever's playing Bryson, right? They're probably going to be hitting second every single time on the second shot, or hitting first in the second shot every time.
Yeah. And they're going to then be standing there while Bryson tries to find his golf ball.
You stop that.
So nonetheless, I think that's definitely a good point. Is that you look at, some people who have been able to be really good. Somebody like Bubba, who I guess nowadays doesn't hit the ball that far, but at one point in his career was able to hit it pretty far. Has had past success. But you also see other people who don't hit the ball necessarily that long also have success. So it's definitely one of those things that I think probably is a helper, but not necessarily the indicator. It's the same thing we point out with Bryson every time, right? Like he hits the ball really far, but he also does a bunch of other things really, really well.
And he's been putting really well recently, which in a match play format, I think putting is something I'm going to value a little bit more in this tournament because closing out somebody, if you can make that 8-foot putt or 10-foot putt, whatever it is, and stick it to your opponent to make them do the same or a slightly whatever putt, I think strong putting is an advantage in a match play format.
Yeah, perfect. That makes total sense. So as we move in, we were talking. So this is where we talk about our sub quadrants. So these are the two groups where the winner of Group 1, the winner of Group 16 will play each other in the not called Sweet 16.
The round of 16.
The round of 16. And so when you look at this is where we're talking about don't get more than one from Group 1. You don't have to get one from Group 1, but definitely don't get more than one from Group 1. And then,
so hard.
I'm not even trying to point. I'm just doing pure hand motions at this point. And then not only that, but don't get two people from Group 1 and Group 2 together.
You don't want Dustin Johnson facing Sanjay in the first round.
I want that a lot, but not with both on my team.
Not in my bracket. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. These are pretty interesting groups. The Group 1, we talked about this a little bit. This is just set up for DJ to make it out.
Yeah, I think this is one of the weakest groups.
Yeah, Nah coming off his withdrawal.
Possible injury, but was it more of an injury to his psyche because he shot that 8 or 9 that you mentioned?
I don't see anything really stopping DJ from getting out personally. Which, maybe, obviously, if you want to go contrarian pick one of those. But, it's hard to pick which one. Yeah,
I
mean, I
like
would
this next
prefer.
group quite a bit. I think, honestly, all four of these golfers are really good golfers.
Yeah,
I loved Henley last week. He did pretty well.
we've seen a lot of them play pretty well, especially Henley. M has been playing well.
M's always played well, yeah.
Yeah, I just like him. I think we saw that his stats weren't all that great on match play, right?
Yeah, he wasn't a match play. He didn't have a ton of history. I think he played maybe 7 or 8 matches, and he was like 2 and 6.
I was a little bit surprised. Because I did think that he would be a little bit better with especially how well he hits his irons and how consistent he is. But that being said, again, we were talking about how this is a format that doesn't necessarily always reward consistency and can reward, not flash in the pan, but more daring types.
And there are some holes you can get at on this course.
Yeah. So, but beyond that, like we said, Henley played really, really well last week. So if you do want to factor in form, he's definitely somebody to look at. But again, the big thing here: do not pick more than one person from these two groups. Do not pick more than.
I included that reminder on the bottom of every one of our quadrant breakdowns, just so everyone can see here. So moving on to quadrant 1B, these are two of my favorite quadrants. So I keep rostering Tyrrell Hatton, and I will continue to roster Hatton, and he will continue to cost me money in DFS. So
8,600, yeah. But I mean, the thing about him is that he played awful as a player.
Just absolutely terrible.
But he's really, really good. And the rest of that group is...
I mean, we saw Sergio play fantastic, right?
Yeah. I mean...
and Westwood had two runner-ups in a row.
I don't know. And I'm sure Westwood took a couple days off this week, hopefully, and didn't go and play Augusta again.
Yeah.
But
out of this group, I like Hatton and Garcia the most.
I think that's fair. And Garcia made it out of group stage 2 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have strong feelings about that. I like Hatton, and he's not very expensive. I think that's the big thing.
For a group winner, he's got a good price. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that I think he is somebody who could not make it out of his group.
Yeah.
Or he could make it to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Those are two non-small chances of happening.
I will have him in my GPP percentage. I will have some percentage of him in my player
I think that's completely fair. And then moving on to the slightly smaller one below, we've got Webb, Casey, Hughes, and the Gooch.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at how bad Webb Simpson is at match play.
I thought he would have been better too. Webb's like an all-around good golfer.
Again, this is where it comes back to consistency doesn't always pay.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he doesn't hit the ball as far. So your theory on making sure having the second shot into a hole probably goes against him. But I mean, that being said, we look at Paul Casey, who is apparently very good at match play.
He loves match play. He says he loves match play.
Played so much of it.
Yeah. He's got a ton of history from the Ryder Cup, which the Ryder Cup's not the best analog. I mean, it's they do a lot of best ball or a partnership type thing.
But I think even his individual stats that include the Ryder Cup are still good.
Are they?
Because they still do the singles on the last day of the Ryder Cup.
Okay.
So, I think he still has shown that he's somebody who is very good, and that makes me a little bit weary of this group for selecting. I think it's something that you can definitely make it out of, but I don't have a pick here. I don't have somebody that I feel like the one above it. I think Hatton's going to win.
Yep.
This one, I don't know.
I think almost any of them can win, even Hughes and Gooch. I mean, Gooch is honestly, when he's on, he's one of the best golfers out there in this field. So, I like all these golfers. Hughes is a good young Canadian golfer. Yeah, so
And
it's a good group.
Do not pick Paul Casey and Sergio.
So on to the next one.
You can pick either one, but not both.
Same thing. 2A here. Only rostering one of these 8. We get to an interesting group. This Bryson, Fleetwood, Kim, and Rosner. I think Bryson has a. Whoops, let me go back here. I think Bryson has an easy path out of here. Fleetwood's been playing terribly. Rosner alternated in after. I forget who was I guess Brooks or a handful of other guys withdrew that qualified.
Yeah. He was already in by the time I looked at the bracket, so I don't know who was true.
And then Siwoo Kim, who plays really well at Pete Dye courses, but sometimes shows up and just doesn't give a crap about golf. So he may be here to collect his minimum. This is an automatic payday for all these players. There's no cut. Everyone gets $30,000. So.
Bryson's gonna win.
Yeah, Bryson's gonna win this group, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm most excited about the opportunity for Bryson to play Finau in the Sweet 16, not Sweet 16.
Oh, Finau is a guy that I am terrified to have low ownership on. Get into this next group.
Yeah, I'm terrified to have low ownership, and I'm also terrified to have any ownership because if you've watched any shows, you know that I like both Kokrak and Zalatoris. And also the other guys also doing really well in it in the last few weeks. And so this group is probably one that I just don't have a winner. I don't have a concrete winner. I don't know.
I'm going to take some shots on Dylon Fratelli spitting hot fire here. You'll get to my sleeper picks. Dylon makes the list. He went to University of Texas in Austin here.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Horns up. Presumably had some opportunities to play at Austin Country Club. Familiar with Texas golf. Probably going to be comfortable being back here. So I will take some shots on Dylon getting out of this group and making a run.
He's not going to, but...
So I will burn some GPP entries of my 150 because I am 150 maxing this week. Of my 150, I will burn maybe 10%, 15 or so entries on Dylon spitting hot fire.
I'm just here to make completely baseless assertions.
I'm going to back him up with my hard-earned American dollars, but they're also pretty baseless.
Anyways, so again, don't pick more than one. I'm going to stop saying that now that we've got...
I know, I put it on every one just because it really... I was cutting and pasting the slides.
Yeah, if you're going through this... this next one's interesting because I think it's another one that I think probably Morikawa... I think Morikawa is the best golfer of these four for various reasons, but I think I personally picked Homa to win, so I don't have strong feelings on it though. I also think I have them losing to Hovland, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think you said it exactly right. Morikawa is the best golfer in this group. His iron play is unreal. We saw Homa win recently. We saw Horschel make a deep run recently. Poston's kind of just around. He's a middle tier, but he's also a good golfer when he gets hot. So honestly, any of these first three I can see winning this group, but Morikawa is the best golfer and probably has the best chance to escape.
Yeah, and I think the thing here is though, is you look at Horschel and Homa, and they're pretty cheap. So if you have strong feelings about them able to get out of their bracket, and you aren't picking Hovland to win.
So that was going to be my next mention. I have a real hard time getting up to Group 4 because I like Group 13.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I think we talked about Ainge Strillman a little bit yesterday when we were looking at this.
Yeah, and actually since then I've looked into Weisberger a little bit more, and he is one of the streakiest golfers on the tour. So, in match play, getting streaky and getting hot can get it done. He could also bomb out and lose 0-3 real easily. So
he could. That is the unfortunate but also fair truth.
But I love Hovland in this bracket.
I have a lot of Hovland. Well, again, I don't have a roster yet, but I will have a lot of Hovland. We'll definitely,
because of his price tag, where I don't have Hovland, I probably will have Answer, or at least
Hovland's also
strong
cheap.
Combination.
Substantially $1,000 less than Morikawa.
Yeah.
I know he missed his last cut, but I just don't. I don't get that. But nonetheless, as we move on to 3B, no, 3A. We're on 3A now.
I think you like this.
Top right-hand corner.
Yeah, they call this the group of death right here, group 2. They tweeted this out before the show because they wanted to preview this group.
Yeah, that's completely fair. It's very good. I mean, you have first and second from last year in there.
Yep.
You have Oosthuizen, who, outside of withdrawing randomly, has played really, really well lately. And then Justin Thomas.
And's done really well in this event.
The best golfer in the entire world.
Usti is one of the few guys that have advanced from the group stage more than once. So
there you go.
And then JT just won last week.
Yeah, best golfer in the world.
So what are you going to do? I mean, that group is nasty. I have a lot of Kistner, and I'm kind of, as I'm looking through this, feeling like I'm probably going to shift some of that to Usti. I'm actually making a note. I want to shift some ownership to Usti.
I mean, Kistner is cheap, too.
Yeah.
Especially based on what we were discussing. But that being said, I don't really love picking anyone in this group for my 6 because I think Speed's gonna make the Final Four.
Yes!
I've already put that down. But B, actually, I think I have Speed for the final.
Yes!
But both as a fan and also actually, I don't know. I guess I have him beating JT. Yeah. Wow. I really like JT.
Oh, if that matchup happens, Spieth and JT, I will be glued to my television.
Good TV. And I think Spieth would probably win that, honestly. I don't know. That would be good TV.
Oh, killer. NBC wants Spieth versus JT.
Yeah. Ricky wants Spieth versus JT. But yeah, so I have a hard time picking anyone in Group 2 because I obviously like Spieth a lot. And basically Spieth. I mean, Connors is fine. He's played really, really well, and
Fitz is great.
He's played really well. Wolf's not played great.
It's funny that Spieth is the lowest seeded golfer in this group, but he's the most expensive.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I mean, he's gonna make it out of the round. Again, I'm making Basil deserve him.
I love it. I love it.
And so
we know who's Ricky's picking in this bracket here.
Yeah. Wonder who. If you want to differentiate me in our bracket challenge, you should just listen to everything I say because I'm telling you exactly what I'm saying. I think it's definitely these are two of my favorite to watch, but they're not necessarily my favorite to be picking people from.
Yep.
I think I definitely will have lineups from this because I think there's a pretty decent. Well, I think especially compared to group. Quadrant 3A, I think there's probably a good chance that the winner of this subquadrant makes it to the Final Four.
But it's just a tough quadrant or tough subquadrant.
It's just a tough subquad. And then the next one, you got this one is interesting because again we talked about Bubba about how he's performed well here in the past.
Yep.
And then you look at somebody like Reed who I keep getting every week, and he's played okay, but not good.
So what's funny here is I have been off Reed the last few weeks, and I am all over Reed this week. I'm trying to have 40 to 50% Reed.
I 100% don't have Reed advancing out of his group, so that's a strong reason to have him number 1. But B, after how well he did at the Ryder Cup or President's Cup when he was literally labeled Mr. America, and literally somehow made people like him, even despite being potentially the most unlikely human being on the face of the earth.
I'm going to have a lot of Reed this week. I'm trying to figure a way to get more Reed in my lineup. His group stage is tough.
He's so good, too.
He's great. Yeah, he's just a good ball striker. He's a good putter. I love him to make like a 10 to 12 footer and just put the pressure on his opponent.
Yeah. So, and I like this group a lot better than the next one, and that I have no strong feelings about.
Yeah.
And so I will probably have next to zero of anyone in that group.
But Cantley hasn't been on good form since he withdrew with the illness. Hideki hasn't been in good form. Ortiz is fine. He's probably in the best form of this group. No, actually, Brian Harmon's in the best form of this group, probably coming back from some time off. Harmon's looked pretty good. So I probably will take some flyers on Harmon down here. Maybe a little bit on Ortiz. But, yeah, I really don't like that top 2 golfers in this bracket.
Yeah, I don't have strong feelings about it. I think I have Matsuyama advancing, but, I mean, they're losing to whoever. I think I had Nyman.
Losing to sweet Patrick Reed in the next round.
Sweet Patrick Reed. I'm going to have a lot of Patrick Reed, let's be completely fair. And then the next one is interesting in the fact that I have Jason Day making it to the Final Four.
Jason Day's won this event twice. I mean, it was before we were looking at the court history. The format changed in 2016 to have the round robin in the front, but Jason Day won this event twice.
He won it in 2016.
Oh, did he win the 2016? So he won 2016. I think he won it in 2014 also. But yeah, 2-time winner of this event.
There you go.
He's been playing a little bit better of late. He's not playing.
Yeah, I thought he's been playing pretty well.
World #1, but he's been playing better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's definitely something to watch. Xander's interesting. I don't know if he's played very much match play.
No, he didn't have much history on match play, and he also is getting projected for super low ownership. People are just kind of passing him by. I think because this group's pretty strong.
He's very expensive though too.
Yeah.
Like at $10,000, I would just rather have Hovland at 9,400, or go up to Morikawa for 10,300, or get whatever Patrick Reed was. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But like, I like Xander a lot. I don't know how well he's gonna be at match play specifically, but he's, an absolutely great golfer. But and then the next group, I pull for Rory every week.
I love Rory this week because Rory is not on his A game, but Rory's not A game we've seen has resulted in a top 10 finish, a top 15 finish. And match play can hide some of his bad holes, right?
Yep.
We get the good Rory holes to win. He ties a few here and there, and hopefully he loses less than he wins, and Rory advances. I like Rory a lot this week.
Yeah, and he's another guy that, we talked a little bit about the Ryder Cup President Cup, about how, maybe they aren't the best to take how good they are at it and their win-loss record themselves. But he is somebody who's played in a lot of, President's Cups and Ryder Cups both, and so he's definitely a guy that understands, the dynamics of match play, even if it's not necessarily always in the individual form. So he's definitely somebody who's played a lot, and not only that, but he's also won a lot, even as a single and in teams.
Yep.
So he's definitely somebody that I will probably have quite a bit of, even though I said that I think Jason Day made the Final Four, which he did.
Well, I love Cam Smith out of this group, too.
Yeah.
I have a fair amount of Cam Smith in my brackets. I think he is just an elite form, an elite ball striker. He is playing so well, and at his price tag, if you project him to get to the Final Four, you can really do some nice things with your build.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. And, Lenta Griffin played really well, I think, against the players, maybe the week before. And Poulter, I think, is a guy that he definitely doesn't hit the ball as far, which is probably going to put him at a little bit of a disadvantage. And he hasn't been playing great form-wise.
But his TikTok game is on point.
It's so good.
Yeah, check out his Instagram or TikTok, whatever his social media is. He's fantastic.
Normally, but I both, it's so good. And the thing about him is like you were talking about how you don't necessarily how you might favor young people, because they're playing multiple matches, but you also have to consider the mental aspect that I think Ian Poulter definitely has, where you have to be reined in every hole, and you have to be able to keep going. And the mental aspect and the mental fatigue is just as real as the physical. As the physical,
So here's our last quadrant, bottom right. We have Rahm. Rahm made a deep run a couple years ago. I believe finished runner-up. And then he's playing with one of his buddies, Ryan Palmer. They're noted friends on the tour. So that'll be interesting to see them play their round together.
Lowry played really well last week.
Yeah, he played amazing. The
Um,
Irishman, even the day after St. Patrick's Day, you would have thought maybe he'd be a little
yeah,
hungover, but he played really
I
well.
have. I don't have any comments on Sebastian Munoz. I mean,
He's a good golfer. He plays a lot better in the Florida and Bermuda.
but
Yeah.
they Bermuda here, right?
So here, I believe, is an overseeded Bermuda and POA mixture. So I guess,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not sure primarily what's growing this time of year. And then
Okay.
our last
Okay.
group we have is an interesting one because both Berger and English are potentially injured. We had Berger withdraw last week, trying to nurse that rib injury. English, I believe, also had a withdraw. And so, I mean, that's interesting to have the two potentially injured golfers up front. I assume if Berger's going to play, he's healthy. That's kind of what we were thinking last week going into the tournament. If he's going to play, he's going to be healthy. He ended up not playing, so he wasn't healthy.
I imagine that. I would. That's definitely something that I would watch. I mean, obviously we're decently close to lock now, but that's definitely something that I would watch as we get closer. Is watch social media, watch our Twitter, watch other people that are big on PGA stuff and also PGA just in general. Their Twitters to watch that, and if there is an announcement, because he did announce he announced a day early last time.
Yep.
So he gave a little bit of heads up. And hopefully he's fine, and he'll play this week and get a week off for Augusta. But not only that, but like it also is a little bit scary to be rostering him because does he make it 6 rounds? Like he barely made it 4 rounds.
His quote was like he was thankful.
Players.
He ended up finishing the top 10, but his quote afterwards was like he was just happy to have played 4 rounds of golf or to have been able to play 4 rounds of golf. And it's like, dude, that's scary. That's not what I want to hear out of a dude on my roster.
Yeah, and going up to Augusta, I wouldn't want him necessarily playing here.
Yeah, save it for Augusta. Although there is a big payday at this tournament, but nothing like the prestige of Augusta.
Yeah, but not only that though, but like you look at his price tag though, it's something interesting because if you do think he's going to be healthy enough to play, then he's very cheap for the golfer that he is.
Yeah,
relatively,
and in a fairly easy group.
But yeah, exactly. Especially if English are. I mean, EVR's been playing pretty well. Todd's been playing all right, but nothing. You would definitely probably on first look pick Berger in this group most of the time.
Yeah, he's the most recent winner of this group. He won 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah.
And the winner of this group is going to play. If Rahm wins, he's not been playing great lately. He ended up playing all right at the Players. Where did he end up finishing? He probably ended up finishing.
He ended up finishing the top 10. He had a much better Friday, Saturday than he did a Thursday, Sunday.
He struggled. Thursday for Friday a little bit. He barely made the cut, right?
And then he came out a little bit stronger on Saturday.
I didn't have him. I was sweating Hovland, and he didn't make the cut. So that was my experience. But nonetheless, so as we move on to Keaton's favorites, I've already talked about my favorites. So is this your favorites or is this like actual like odds favorites?
No. These are just my favorites. You know what? I probably should have thrown up the Vegas odds. I'm guessing
Keaton's picks.
DJ's is probably close to one of the Vegas odds favorites as well. But here's some guys that I like. Like I said, anyone can make a run in match play, but literally anything can happen. But these are the guys I like. So DJ has an easier path than most. I think he's got an easy group stage, and then he comes out and faces that Sanjay M group in the round of 16. I think he has a good chance to advance to the Elite 8. Probably the best just raw chance, besides maybe Bryson.
Bryson and JT 12-1. Johnson or Rahm at 14-1. Rory at 20-1.
I'm sorry, what was DJ's 14?
14.
Yeah, I like DJ at 14. That's interesting. See, I still can't justify betting any of these guys at those tags. I think the round of 4.
Hovland 28-1.
I like Hovland at 28-1. That's a little more fun and a little more upside if you do win. I might throw $100 on Hovland, honestly.
Yeah. I see you have Berger on here, but you didn't even give him a bullet. So I guess that means exactly what we talked about, where you aren't confident in the fact that he's a favorite.
I'm not sure why I didn't give him a bullet. I can't give any credence to that, but he is in a soft group. That's basically why I put him up here. So I tried to say on each one why I included him. Hovland, he loves match play. He's in good form, except for that couple of missed cut or whatever, but he's in good form. He's a great player. He loves this format. Casey, another one that loves this format. I noted his ownership will be high because everyone kind of knows he is the match play go-to. Berger's in that soft group 14. Scheffler, who I did not know, Texas native, grew up in Dallas, went to the University of Texas in Austin, presumably has had opportunity to play this course numerous times, similar to Fratelli, who's down here in my sleeper pick. So in my sleeper picks, I only included guys that were either third or fourth in their group.
Let me point out one thing before you go into this. Nothing quite like picking a sleeper that was last year's winner, or 2 years ago's winner, and 3 years ago's runner-up. Just to fully point out.
I qualified my sleeper criteria was them either being third or fourth in their group, which Kistner meets as, I believe, third in his group with Kutcher.
I'll tell you what, I can't wait till college football season when you tell us our sleepers are Clemson and Alabama.
So, back to my sleepers. Spieth, who again is probably not a good sleeper in that he is the most expensive golfer in his group. He's also likely to be popular, but he is technically the fourth seeded golfer in his group. Really love Jordan Spieth this week. Dial Fratelli probably fits more of the mold of a true sleeper. Low ownership, fourth in his group.
And a hard group, too, what we talked about. So, his ownership's definitely going to be low.
Yeah, and he went to the University of Texas, so hopefully he's got a little bit of local flair.
I feel like he's somebody who definitely could make a run, but also somebody that I'm going to have a hard time justifying putting in rosters because of the path that he'd have to take. But that being said, I think if he gets out of his group, he has as good a chance as anybody to make it to the finals.
Yeah, and you're, just for context, you're probably doing a 20 max, right? And so I'm a little bit different building 150 max. I'm going to have to sprinkle in some of these guys. Yeah. But in a 20 max, I completely get fading the low percentage.
Completely unknown, never been anywhere near a tournament before. Kevin Kisner.
Yeah, exactly.
Is next, which we talked about. And then Siwoo Kim, who you talked about a little bit earlier, you like. That's definitely interesting. I think for my 3 or 4 picks that I had getting pretty decently far, I'd mark Jason Day as one.
Yep.
Obviously, again, kind of like Spieth, we're not really a sleeper, but somebody who is a 3 or 4 pick. So maybe might scare at least some people off picking him, but probably not. But I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We went through all of them. Go back to all my comments that I made about people.
But here's what you guys were waiting for.
Sergio was one. We talked about Sergio quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily cheap, but he is the 3 seed in that bracket with Hatton and Westwood as the 1 and 2.
And he could easily get out of that bracket.
Yeah.
So here's what you guys been waiting for.
Yep. This is
contest.
What our contest says. Yeah. You have 10 minutes to get in your vote. You have probably
till 8:30 tomorrow morning, I believe, is the first. Maybe it's 8:25.
So get it in tonight. People who sleep in, get it in early in the morning. People to wake up early. But to be eligible, you are competing with us first of all. So when I say I'm going to win first place, I'm going to win $100 worth of entries.
And then he's going to parlay that into first place in the Millionaire Maker next week, or I'm sorry, in 2 weeks.
I told Keaton that I would only agree to a contest if I was eligible to win it. But if you've been watching any of this, you would know that there is if you've been watching any of this video and my picks, you would know there's probably 0 chance of me winning. But also, if you've just been watching in general, you would know that my picks are sometimes they're well reasoned, but questionable.
But we'll tweet out another link to the show as well as to the contest. But there's also a link down in our show notes. But to be eligible to win the top prize, you have to leave a comment below. Tell us who your top pick is. But most importantly, tell us how you want to be contacted if you win. We don't know how to contact you otherwise. So
we don't know who you are.
Yeah,
and
please.
You will get nothing.
We love that you're watching. We love you're in our contest. But leave a comment below with how you want to be contacted when you win. Because first place is a $100 entry. So in 2 weeks for the Masters, DraftKings is putting on actually 3 millionaire makers. Only 2 are in our price range because one is $4,400. The other 2 are $100 and $10. So we're going to give away 1 entry to the $100, get that chance to win a sweet, sweet $1 million up top. And then 2nd to 5th, we'll give away 4 entries to the $10 version, which has 478,000 other entries. So that's a lottery ticket.
Good luck.
Yep.
Good luck.
But join our contest. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Follow us on all the socials. I think mine's here, TR Parker 10. It's probably pretty small.
Mine will be in the show notes.
Yep. Pin DFS. I think I still have a DraftKings referral code in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, follow us. Let us know. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.